Iran appears to be making at least one concession to Western nations seeking to limit its nuclear program. Speaking to Iranian state TV, officials announced changes that would be made to the nuclear reactor being built near the city of Arak. The planned changes will make it more difficult for the nation to produce fuel for a nuclear weapon. But it's something of a mixed message considering some of Tehran's recent rhetoric. Last week, the top commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guard said the Iranian military has plans to attack the United States from within should the Islamic Republic be provoked, saying this: "We've recognized America's military strategy and have arranged our abilities and have identified centers in America for attack that will create a shock. We will conduct such a blow in which they, America, will be destroyed from within." So what are we to make of Iran's seemingly schizophrenic posturing? Joining us for tonight's Q&A is Frank Gaffney. He's the president of the Center for Security Policy. Frank, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Pete.
So, Frank, what do you make of this bifurcation? On one level, they seem to be making a concession to the West, and on another level, they're reminding us how much they want to kill us. What do you make of this?
My sense is that they're playing the double game that has brought them huge returns in just the past few months. On the one hand, they go through the motions of reducing or at least slowing or, well, the president would have you believe, halting their nuclear program. And on the other hand, they are making absolutely clear to anyone who's willing to listen that they not only intend to pursue it and, more broadly, their hostile agenda towards the West, towards even the non-West neighbors in their region, in a way that makes abundantly clear that anyone who buys the good cop routine is being deluded and perhaps deluding others.
Absolutely. Well, the threat that was made from this general in particular had a homeland aspect to it, and there's been some of that before. But what type of homeland threat do you think, or do you believe they'd be referring to?
Well, Pete, as you know, we had a very important panel discussion today with Senator Ted Cruz of Texas and former Director of Central Intelligence Jim Woolsey. You made, by the way, absolutely superb opening remarks. I didn't get a chance to commend you on them. What the focus of that meeting was is on reports that we've been getting in the past few days of an actual attack that took place back in April of last year on a very important part of the electric grid of this country, a transformer farm, as they call them, out near San Jose, California. Had the attack been fully successful, Pete, it would have blacked out power to San Jose, Silicon Valley, and much of the San Francisco Bay Area, perhaps for years. There are a lot of people in Pennsylvania at the moment who are suffering without power. Imagine if it doesn't come back on and you live in a harsh climate, or for that matter, any place in this country, it would be a devastating attack. And unfortunately, there's a lot of reason to believe that the Iranians have either that kind of attack, a relatively prosaic one, or using a high-altitude bursted nuclear weapon, what's known as an EMP, or electromagnetic pulse attack, to basically take out our country and, as Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the former president, used to say, bring about a world without America.
Well, which makes the nuclear angle that much more significant. One thing is sort of a targeted attack. Another is, as you said, an EMP event or something with a nuclear weapon. This heavy water reactor in Iraq, the second one that they created to produce plutonium, it seems to be the first, what they would deem to be permanent scaling back. Should we in any way, say they were to scale it back, should we laud this in any sense as a success if they do start to roll back, say, their water reactor in Iraq?
Well, it's not permanent, Pete. I think you can design it one way and then you can design it a different way if you choose to down the road. But let's bear one thing in mind. The deal that we have now had served up by President Obama and President Rouhani of Iran is basically one that governs aspects of the declared, or acknowledged at least, nuclear program of Iran. What is going on sub rosa, behind the scenes, covertly, is anybody's guess at this point. But it is certainly true that there are facilities that have been identified, among others by Reza Khalili, a former CIA agent inside the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, as these kinds of facilities hidden deep inside mountains that have not been declared, are not being inspected, are not covered by this accord.
Sure.
And we have no idea whether there's another Iraq down there that might be producing plutonium, even if this one is not.
Absolutely. A lot of smoke and mirrors here. Frank, thank you very much for joining us, and thanks for your leadership on this issue.
And yours too, Pete.
Can the government seize your home, destroy it, and then hand the property over to a private corporation? A 2005 Supreme Court decision says it can. Now, one justice is saying it's only a matter of time before the decision is overturned. Buck Sexton has more when we come back.